Hey guys, and welcome to Today's Scott, where I bring you daily content on entrepreneurship and personal growth every day, bar Sunday, so 6 days a week, not 7. Gotta give one day to the family on entrepreneurship and personal growth. So how I do that is I communicate my learning from each day. So as an entrepreneur, you'll know, or someone who's hungry for personal growth, you'll know we learn so much each day due to our eagerness and willingness to learn, and as well just the nature of the game of being an entrepreneur. You learn so much having to just develop so quickly to move your business forward. So since starting a company last month, that's what I do, is I communicate my learning from each day into content that'll be valuable to you. So sometimes I'll be reaching out to you for questions for issues I have, so I can gain some clarification, some support and stuff. And other times I'll bring you knowledge that I have to help you as well. At the end of the day, it's trying to create and develop a community of entrepreneurs that feel confident to be transparent with one another, to help each other gain their successes in business and life. So I'm going to be fully transparent. You're going to see me on my ups, my downs, every side of me. So it's a very transparent and very you're going to resonate. It is probably the best way to say it, is I'm in the trenches, as they say, in the grind, as Gary Vee always preaches. I'm where I believe most of you are, which is in the first few years of business, and that's what makes this channel so unique. So without further ado, this is obviously a fascinating one because it's to do with failure, something you're never going to get round, whether you start a business or not. We fail every single week, if not every single day. We'll fail in something. So this is about understanding and dealing with failure, so just delving deeper into failure. And I've been reading a book, Black Box Thinking, so I have some really good knowledge to share with you on this one, guys, as well as some real experiences. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome back. So failure, understanding and dealing with failure. Man, I know this is Daily Blog 56. I can't wait for 100. Obviously, we're not going to hit it this year, but I'm so excited for 100. What I'll do with it, I'm not sure, but we'll make it something exciting for sure. So understanding and dealing with failure. So why am I doing it? As you know, I communicate my learnings on a daily basis, so it's based on something that's happened recently. So as you know, I'm training for a marathon next year, and in doing so, I want to up the ante for next year. So instead of doing one marathon, I'm thinking of doing a number of marathons over a period of time where it'd be back-to-back marathons. So in order to do this, I've increased my fitness hugely, and to prove to myself I was going to do 30 days of 30 half marathons. Now, getting into I did 5 days altogether. Now I hadn't. What's happened is that I've actually injured myself. So this is why this is going to get very interesting, delving into failure and when to stop and when to not stop. It's going to be very interesting a bit. People might have conflicted thoughts on this, and that's what's going to make this topic really interesting. So about the third day in, my knees were absolutely killing me, but stretching them out all the time, but each time it just got worse and worse. And then by the fifth day I came in, and my right knee actually got better. My left knee was like 3 times the size of the other one, so obviously I was in unbelievable amount of pain, and it was just I couldn't even walk. It was really unbearable. And the funny thing is that I truly believe, if I was not forced by my mother to stop doing it because of just how stupid it was, I honestly believe I would have carried on, because I did it for the past few days before that. It wasn't to that state of bad, but it wasn't great on the other days. Like, I went through a lot of pain, like I was communicating to you on the vlogs, but I honestly believe that I would have done the 30 days through unbelievable amount of pain, because I was already dealing with it, and it wasn't fun. It was getting tough, but sometimes you just need someone to give you a bit of reality check. Go, there's pushing yourself and trying to break the limits and break your limitations and do great successful things, but then there's just pure stupidity. And obviously it's that balance of, it depends what you perceive it as, isn't it? Some people perceive it as stupidity, other people see it as brilliance of mental toughness. It's a tough one, and I think you're always going to have people on different sides of the spectrum. But either way, I've injured myself, and therefore why I've stopped. So I did 5 days in total, but like I said, I believe I would have carried on if she'd not forcefully said, you know, you're not doing this anymore. And which rightly so, I'm grateful for her saying that, because it probably would have been absurd and I probably would have gone into months of rehabilitation through operations. So how do we look and analyse? That was my experience, and how do we look and analyse this now? So I'm going to analyse this failure. So first of all is, when is the right time to stop something? When is the right time to give up on a task, on, for instance, my exercise or my running? When is the right time to stop? Is there ever a right time to stop? So like I said, I feel like I would have carried on if I wasn't informed to stop, but I'll give you another example to sort of make you understand this part. So I'm reading a book, Black Box Thinking, really good book. I would highly recommend it. I'm nearly finished. I think I'm on the last 3 chapters now, so once I finish it, I'm sure I'll just do a book review on here, because it's fascinating. It's all to do with failure and cognitive dissonance, which I'll discuss a bit further in this video as well. But one of the really interesting examples in there that they use is Dyson. And obviously you all know Dyson. You probably have a Dyson Hoover in your house, no doubt. And Dyson started out with an idea of basically filtering out all the dust, not using a paper bag, and instead trying to create a more sturdy system that it could filter out the dust and the hairs, so it was a lot more efficient. Now, this idea that he had actually, people had actually attempted before and gone and put patents in it before, however had failed in doing so. So that's why his business at the time would not support him in the idea, because they were like, well, why aren't these big companies doing it, and people have already tried it and nothing's happened. Yet he carried on. So that's already a barrier. If someone said, this is stupid, it doesn't work for other people, why is it going to work for you? So some people would argue, why did you do it? Some people argue, no, give it a go. So he gave it a go. Got some funding behind him, and altogether, I think it was about 550 prototypes he did. So 550, and what's even more mind-blowing, he didn't have a computer, so he had to write down, because each prototype, what he did was marginally change something, like even as anal as just like the groove, just slightly different. It was crazy. And he would analyze all this data in a book. He would write down every single change and have to analyze that, and apparently he had an absolutely humongous book of all this data. Now people argue, obviously now people see the success of this, are like, that was pure brilliance, that was amazing, what a genius. And obviously that is, now we look at it, but let's just come back a minute, because think about if you were there and you're his friend and you were seeing him doing this and he was on his 200th attempt. Would you honestly, if you think about it now, would you honestly say that you would have honestly said, keep on supporting him? Or would you said, look mate, this just isn't happening, you should stop, because this just is not working, and you're wasting your money, wasting your time. It's always going to be a battle, and that's why I find failure so fascinating, because it is this understanding of when's the right time to stop. And I think the answer to that question is there isn't one. Like I said, it's a tough one, because I think there's always going to be people on either side of the spectrum saying it's ridiculous to carry on and it's not ridiculous to carry on. And either way, we've now seen this success. So how I look at it is this. This is how I look at it when it comes to understanding when you should stop or not. And it's very hard to really put a simple formula on this, but this is my formula of understanding it, and I've gained this knowledge through my experiences and as well this book that I'm reading. So the way I look at it is this. First of all, look for marginal gains. Now you have to understand that when you're pushing yourself, and especially developing something like that, a prototype, or when I'm running and getting fitness, I'm not going to be able to run a marathon every day for a prolonged amount of time straight away. It's just not going to happen. So I have to gradually improve. Do an extra mile this day, do an extra mile, do an extra hour, whatever it is. So what you need to do is start looking for marginal gains. And I think a lot of people find this hard, because a lot of people really feel that they should be rewarded for their hard work and the time they put in, when it's not about the time you put in, it's about how smart you're being. So you have to look at what gains you're getting from your input of work and be able to analyze your work. So what I mean is that you might put a few weeks into this project and you might see that nothing's changed. You'd be like, oh, this is ridiculous. Why haven't we got this many followers already? Why haven't we got this or this or this already? It's ridiculous. Because that target might be a year to achieve. You have to start cutting it down to much smaller goals and see the marginal. And once you do that, you probably see 5 or 6 things, go, oh wait a minute, that's improved a little bit, that's improved a little bit, that's improved, and over time it will be a much bigger success and you'll achieve your end goal. So it's basically looking at the short term against the long term. And obviously it plays into the long term. So I would say first look at the marginal gains. Is it improving? So Dyson obviously knew through his analytics it was improving. And when something didn't improve, he goes, right, that's wrong. So take that one off and now add something else. That didn't work, take that off. Okay, try something else. Oh, that's working. Let's try that a little bit. And these stripes sprouts out into other prototypes. So that's how he worked, was in marginal gains. He just learned from each one. And another one on top of this, which is probably more to my experience, was the risk versus reward. Now this is a much more difficult to analyze, as marginal gains is quite straightforward once you understand how to break your goals down, but risk versus reward can be difficult because it's judging the benefit, your perceived benefit of the short to long term, and cognitive dissonance might play a very strong part in this, because as a person involved in the project, as a person, me, involved in the fitness and being so ultra focused at being ready and achieving my goal of 30 days, 30 half marathons, just having that OCD of just finishing it, I had blinkers on of the seriousness of what could happen. Now, like I said, I honestly believe I would have carried on and I would probably put myself into 3 months of operations because it was getting that bad. And I just wouldn't have seen that other side of it because I was just so ultra focused. Now, I don't know if that's an entrepreneurial mental attitude or whether that's just OCD, I'm not sure. But I got a bit of a reality check with my mum saying, look, you're going to end up at a hospital in a minute if you go for another few runs. So, obviously, my risk to first reward was I proved to myself I can do it, but I could have 3 months out and not be ready for the marathon. Or I could try and do it. That was my risk versus reward. So really, it's understanding it and truthfully understanding it, because what I said, when you're involved in it too heavily, cognitive dissonance can play a big part of, like me, just wanting to go forward. So maybe take another look on it with someone else, with someone out of the project, to have sort of peering eyes on what you're doing to understand the risk versus reward more clearly. Now, again, this is very hard to judge because with the whole Dyson thing, it gets to a point where I believe it's inhuman to carry on. As humans, our brain protects us. We look at the fight or flight. It protects us. There's warning signs. Our mind likes to be comfortable, not it likes to be at ease. Therefore, why we're very bad at disciplining ourselves, because we always look to find the easy way. So understanding when to carry on is very difficult. But that is me in the nutshell of me understanding where to carry on. Is 1, look for the marginal gains. Is it improving? Yes or no. If it's not improving, relook at it or scrap it. Risk versus reward. Is this worth the risk? And that's the more difficult one, because sometimes the risk is going to be so huge with so much money on a project, and so many people are going to be saying no. And you might just pull through, and that they can be the greatest success stories, is the ones that just say no to everyone, break the rules, and they're the greatest successful, and they are huge, and they're Dysons. So it's a difficult one, and I think it's one there'll always be people on the other side of the spectrum. I don't think people will ever agree on how to understand when to stop and what's right, because everyone's got different perspectives on how failure works. So it's an interesting one, but that's my view of it. I hope it was clear. So looking for marginal gains and understanding the risk versus reward to short and long term on your goals. Okay, so in addition, let's delve a bit deeper is the result. So from my experience of doing that and then actually having to stop, this is another layer of failure. So we've just gone through the aspect of when I should stop and understanding failure as when you should stop and when failure is right to happen and when it's not right to happen. That's what we've just done there. Now we're going on to when you do stop, you give up, fail, whatever it is, and now I'm looking at the result of that. So to my experience, the result of it was I was annoyed, I was frustrated, I was stressed, I was upset. It was all negative. I was just angry. I was angry because like I said, I have an OCD to once I'm set out, I'm doing it. I am doing it. And that's why, again, I believe I would have carried on if I was not forcefully stopped. So now you need to look at dealing with these emotions. You need to look at, all right, it's stopped, you've given up, you failed, whatever you want to brand it as. Now what do we do? Do we go and stay stressed? Do we stay frustrated? Do we stay angry? Do we stay in these emotions? Or do we jump out and go, right, this has happened, this is why it's happened, let's move on, let's improve. And that's what I've done. So you need to adapt. You need to learn from the opportunity. So that's what failure is. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to improve yourself. Failure is the greatest thing in the world. Failure is just telling us it didn't work. Do something else. It's not saying you're wrong, you're an idiot, go out. It's all it's saying is this try isn't the right one. Try something else. That's all it's saying. You have to build a relationship with failure, and I'll talk about that in a minute actually. So with me adapting, what I've done, I've already set up a meeting with a running expert to go through really expert training to make sure it doesn't happen again, to make sure I'm fully ready and have just really good advice on marathon running. I've already started stretching, training my knee. I've got a knee brace, stretching my knee, training my knee, and just readying it to get back into fitness as soon as possible, but as safe as possible. And I'm also already strategizing my next steps fitness-wise to make sure I'm a tip-top shape so I can stay on track for my end goal of the marathons I'm going to run. So I've adapted. I've gone through the emotions. I did not go through the emotions. I still went for the anger, upset, stress. You don't have, just because you become good at dealing with failure doesn't mean you avoid the emotions. You go through it. You find a way to make those emotions a much shorter time and not get in your way. And that's what I've done, and I've adapted, and I've taken action on that in order to go forward and move forward and learn from this opportunity to improve myself and still achieve my goal. So my takeaway for this video, as always, I do a takeaway, is develop your relationship with failure. And if you read the book Black Box Thinking, it will explain all this by it. I really strongly advise you go do it, and I'll give you a book review to give you more in-depth analysis on it in a later video. But develop your relationship with failure. So what I mean by that is be okay with failure. See failure as just telling you this isn't the right way. You've tried this, it's that way, mate, or it's that way. Try it that way. Don't see failure as like, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do this anymore. It means I'm not good. Looking at it that way is just a completely incorrect way, because that means to me that you originally thought that you were going to be perfect from the get-go, and no human in this world is perfect from the get-go. We all, even the billionaires, the millionaires, they have failed more than you can ever believe, more than you ever will. The whole point they're millionaires and billionaires is because they failed millions and billions of times, just very damn fast, and they've learned from each one. You have to make sure you don't go back to the same failure repeating, because obviously that you're not learning them. But that's why they're rich. That's why they're successful, because they've failed 1 billion times. They've failed 1 million times. That's why the relationship with failure is unbelievably powerful, because they see it as a learning opportunity. So use it as an opportunity to propel yourself and improve your ability to achieve your goals. And when it comes to understanding when to stop a project, for me, my fitness and whatever it is, it's a difficult one. weigh up the risk versus reward, short and long term, get some outside views on it, and be aware of cognitive dissonance. And sometimes, like I said, because it's so difficult, sometimes it just won't be human to carry on, and that's why the risk versus reward's a bit it's a little flawed, because the whole point Dyson succeeded is because no one was stopping him. There was no, if you put the risk versus reward, if you saw the vision of the reward, then I guess the reward would win. But at the time, the risk looked much greater, because of all the debt he was in, of the money he owed, the time he was wasting and not earning any money. There was a lot of risk for him. So at the time, it didn't seem worth it. So that's why you have to be careful of that and understand that sometimes it's just going to be inhumane to carry on, and everyone's going to be saying no. And sometimes you'll carry on and you'll prove everyone right, and it will be wrong. But if that does happen, don't feel disheartened. Just see it as an opportunity to learn. And if you prove them all wrong, which I hope you do, then there we go. You've broken the fascinating learning with failure, and you've developed an unbelievable relationship with failure. So that's my takeaway: is develop a relationship with failure to learn from it rather than to avoid it and be scared of it and be intimidated by it. Make failure your friend in the most positive way. Okay, guys, I hope that was fun. The reason I really talked to the camera then, because I've been reading this book, so I've learned a lot about it, and with my experience, it really has helped me understand it and really communicate it through a video. So that's why I was really talking at you rather than with you there. But I have done 2 other videos on failure. One was "Don't Let Failure Get You Down," and the other one was the power and failure of knowledge. Interesting. So I'll put them at the end of the video for sure, and I'm going to refocus that. I've just made that worse. No, I haven't. There we go. But I'm very good. Had a wonderful yesterday, which I should have vlogged, but I did not. Had an amazing strategy meeting with one of my brands. Got to meet a lot of them I've not met before, and had our end of year Christmas event with another client. Our end of year Christmas networking event, which is amazing. So really enjoyed that. Actually, I want to show you something funny I've got. This is not relevant to anything on this channel. I just want to show you because I think it's funny. This advent calendar is a My Protein advent calendar. Now, I'm not really a gym head, but the reason I got it is it was only a few. I was making a My Protein order anyway, and I wanted an advent calendar, and it was like £3, so I thought I may as well. And there's actual protein in each chocolate. It tastes awful. It just tastes like plastic, but I'm still eating them though. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you, as I thought it was quite amusing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sure it's unbelievably long because it's so long. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, please follow me on all social media. YouTube @ScottMears, where you are now, or I'm sure you are. Facebook @ScottMears Entrepreneur, and Twitter @ScottMears_. As always, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for staying at Day to Day Scott. Best way to predict future is create. Go out there and create your future. Stay classy. Have a lovely time, and I'll see you tomorrow on Thursday's vlog. This was Day to Day Scott. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you then, guys. Bye bye.